Hey, what's up everybody? Tony with Lido Loca, and I'm here to talk about 10 things the cruise lines don't advertise. So what's going on everybody? Back with another video. I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I wake up in the morning, I like to jump on the website of my favorite cruise line and see what the deals are. You might see a super cheap cruise, you might see reduced deposits, you might even see an announcement on what the latest and greatest cruise ship is. I have a list for you today of 10 items that you're probably not gonna see on the front page of the cruise line website. Seasoned cruisers might know a few of these, maybe they don't. Stick around till the end and let me know if you knew all of these or if there's some I left off the list. If you're new here to Lido Loca, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel for all of the latest and greatest when it comes to cruise news, cruise vlogs, cruise tips, and cruise content. We're here for you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and now on to the list. We're going from number 10 to number 1, no particular order, but all interesting things. Number 10 on the list of things that cruise lines don't advertise is that there may be long lines on board. Now, all the footage that you see and all the pictures that you see, it looks like everybody's happy-go-lucky, but every once in a while you might have to stand in line, whether it's for food or whether it's at guest services or whether it's at your favorite attraction. There could be a long line on the cruise ship, especially if you go on a larger cruise ship that has a lot of people. The odds of standing in line increases. So they don't tell you that, but number 10, long lines sometimes on a cruise ship. Number 9, speaking about attractions, not all the attractions will be open at all times. There are some factors like weather that will determine whether certain attractions on the cruise ship are open. I'm thinking primarily of water slides. If you are caught in some sort of rough seas or the storm, it may be closed. If there's a situation where there's high winds, there could be certain decks on the cruise ship that's closed. And there's also times where certain attractions are under maintenance where those might not be open. So just because you're going on a cruise ship that has the Flow Rider or it has the Sky Bikes on Carnival, it doesn't mean that they're open all the time of the posted hours. So be prepared. Number 8, your itinerary may change. Now, especially during hurricane season, the posted itinerary that you purchase when you sign up for your cruise, when you book your cruise, is subject to change. Just recently here in 2018, hurricanes have rerouted multiple cruise ships and thousands of passengers. So cruising, unlike most vacations that you go on, there is an element that is tied to the travel factor, an element that's tied to the fact that these are vessels on the sea, and those vessels may be rerouted due to bad weather. And another example, say you're not even caught in a hurricane, you may go to a port that requires a tender service to get from the main ship to the dock. That's a smaller ship, a tender. If the weather's bad, maybe the tender service gets suspended. So you might have traveled in hurricane-free weather, not bad weather at all, but when you get to the port of call, the weather is bad there, the seas are choppy there, and they may scrub going to a port. Now, if you do have to skip a port on your itinerary, one of the fees that you pay as part of your cruise booking is a port fee. And so for if any reason you can't go to the port of call, like the ship decides not to go to the port of call, make sure that you go down to guest services and request your port fees back. You shouldn't have to pay them if you don't have the opportunity to go to the port. Number 6, the safety drill is mandatory. This is the one that catches first-time cruisers often. You hear about this thing called the muster drill. You don't know how serious you're supposed to take it. Cruise ships are regulated, and part of that regulation requires a mandatory safety briefing for all the passengers that are booked on the cruise ship. That means every person has to be at the safety drill. Now, a lot of times first-time cruisers don't understand how serious that is. They play it off. They might go back to their cabin, hang out at a different spot on the cruise ship, and it requires the staff of the cruise ship actually to come find you, to look for you in your room until they can account for everybody. It's not something that they advertise, but you do need to plan on committing some time, maybe even up to an hour on the first day of your cruise for the safety briefing. take it serious, show up early, and get it knocked out so that everybody can get on with their fun. Number 5, not advertised, but if you look close, you'll find out that the casino is not regulated the same way that land-based casinos are. In the US, there is a regulatory board that keeps all of the rules and regulations and keeps the casinos operating in a fair manner, or at least a manner that they are transparent about. Not so on cruise ship casinos. It doesn't mean you're gonna have a bad casino experience, but it just means that maybe some things that you expect in the casino or things that you're used to on land-based casinos may not be exactly the same on the cruise ship. So just go in with the knowledge that the regulation is not there, the same governing body that's in place on US land-based casinos are not there, and just gamble responsibly. All right, number 4 on the not advertised list is that your luggage may be lost. Now you can understand why they're not going to advertise that, but just like when you go to the airport, when you travel on the bus company, when you jump on the cruise ship, there is a potential for your bag to be lost. The cruise line's handling thousands of bags, and there is potential that your bag won't make it. It's rare, but it does happen, so you just should be mindful of it. Make sure when you pack your carry-on, you pack an extra pair of clothes, you pack your prescription medicine, you pack your swimsuit. Treat it as if your bag is going to get lost, and make sure you put the essentials in your carry-on so at least you have some form of your stuff so that you can make it through your cruise in case something happens to your main bag. Again, most likely it will not, but just in case is a good strategy. Make sure you got your essentials. Number 3 on the list, and this is one that's really come to mind lately. You may get offended on the cruise ship. Now, I didn't think about this, but I did recently do a video where we talked about a pair of twins that got super offended by the comedian on the cruise that they were on because they made a joke that they found offensive, and it really bothered them. It made me think that, you know, there is comedy shows on most cruise lines, but maybe the people that are cruising aren't necessarily people that have gone to stand-up comedy clubs. They don't necessarily understand the full nuance of what stand-up comedy is. And there's a component of that where the audience might get picked on, where there might be a joke that's offensive. It's kind of part of comedy, but if you are new to it, it might seem way out of line. So I thought it's worth including here. When you go to a comedy club on a cruise ship, you might hear things that are offensive. Even if you go like to the piano bar on the late night, you might hear things that are offensive. And then there's some adult-oriented things that happen on a cruise ship, like the Quest game, the Love and Marriage show. There are some potential things in there that folks will find offensive. Just laying it out there, whenever you're getting ready to do an activity on the cruise ship, take it with a grain of salt and know that everybody doesn't think exactly the same way. Everybody doesn't have the same standards of what's offensive and what's not offensive. You're sensitive to things. Before you go do some of those things on the cruise ship, just prepare yourself, know that you could be offended, go in with the right mindset. Number 2, the ship may be delayed. Now, this is infrequent, but it does happen. For one reason or another, maybe you're supposed to board at 11 a.m., but you can't board till 2 or 3 p.m. because something has caused the ship to be delayed coming to port. That's a kind of a double-edged sword, because if it is full of passengers, then there's also a delay getting off the cruise ship. Cruising runs on a pretty tight schedule, but there are things that happen with such a large machine, such a different, moving through the seas and potential for weather or other things. Your cruise ship may not arrive and depart on the scheduled times. Again, this doesn't happen often. It is not advertised, but be prepared. It is possible that you will not leave and return on the time that you thought you might. And number 1, and this one's near and dear to my heart because it's actually happened to us on our first cruise. The ship may break. That sounds scary. Obviously, when you're on some mode of transportation, you do not want the ship to break, but it doesn't take much to find stories of leaks on cruise ships with mechanical failure, and a variety of things. On our very first cruise, when we boarded the ship, everything seemed as it should be, but a few hours of being on board, we were informed that the propulsion system of the cruise ship had malfunctioned. It wasn't working correctly. And our cruise that we had planned for a while to go to Cozumel, Mexico, would not happen. And it was jarring because I'd never been on another type of vacation where all of a sudden there was some sort of mechanical failure and we couldn't go on the vacation. Everything worked out fine, but it was definitely something I wasn't expecting, definitely something that wasn't advertised, and definitely something you might want to know as a new cruiser or somebody who cruises. There is a potential for the ship to break. Now, the cruise line is very good at getting their ships fixed and maintaining their ships, and also trying to keep their customers happy. The cruise line that we were on, Carnival, went well above and beyond to make that cruise a great experience, and it kept us coming back for more. Those are 10 items not advertised, 10 unexpected things that could happen to you on a cruise ship. The list is short. I'm sure there's more. Please leave a comment below. Let me know if there's anything I should add to the list that maybe's happened to you, or definitely anything that's happened to you that was on the list. Have you experienced any of these? Let's carry on the conversation in the comments below. Come follow us over on all of our social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The name is @Lido Loca. Visit us on our website, www.lidoloca.com, for all the latest and greatest. Hope these tips were helpful. Again, my name's Tony, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido.